And now, we've come to the portion of our show where we have to ask, what just happened? We can't believe it either, but let's take a look back at the insanity that was this week and look ahead to what will make us facepalm next week. This is What Just Happened on the Dean Obeidallah Show. Take it away, Dean.
Thank you, announcer man. I'm Dean Obeidallah. Welcome back. We're live here, Black Friday. We're still working. I've got the immigrant work ethic. We work all the time, except next week I'm on vacation. But besides that, all the time working. We got three great people here on the show. Returning champions, Scott Blakeman. You know, from Stand Up for Peace. We've co-founded Stand Up for Peace. He's been on 30, 40 national TV appearances all over. NBC call him the top comic working today. Scott, great to see you again.
Great to be here, Dean. And no better place to be on Black Friday than with you because I'm not spending money on things I don't need. So this is perfect.
Thank you for being here. And then back also, Dustin Chafin. You've seen him on Showtime's White Boys in the Hood. Featured on an ABC special coverage of the New York Comedy Festival. HBO's Crashing.
Yay.
And he's performed in the USO for our troops.
I have.
Which is the opposite of who I've performed for. So it's good to
Maybe
see
your
you.
gig pays more. I don't know.
Well, it's a rough room. And making her debut on this show, I introduced you last so we could chat for a second. Sarah Harvard, she's also a writer and a comedian. She used to write for Mike as a staff reporter, also a good magazine, Upworthy. As a comedian, she was featured as one of the best new talent this year, New York Comedy Festival, and in the New York Arab American Comedy Festival, where I met her. Sarah, welcome aboard, my friend.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, to not spend money that I don't have, so it's great.
So you're still a writer as a journalist as well?
Yeah, I'm a freelance journalist now, but most of my time is spent on comedy. But I'm doing a piece on for HuffPost on like Muslim American women entering comedy. So just like a lot of stuff about identities and community and how we're trying to use comedy as that, medium to spread awareness.
And how long are you doing comedy?
I feel like an asshole saying this, a year.
A year?
Yeah.
If Rich Voss was here, what would he say?
Get out.
Rich Voss, his line was always like, whatever, it could be 8 years. It's less than him. He goes, yeah, get me a cup of coffee or something like that. It's always something like it. So, guys, happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Did you guys celebrate Thanksgiving? Because Trump said, I'm going to play the clip to remind everyone that we people who don't like Trump, I shouldn't speak for Dustin, but we don't like that. We're declaring war on Thanksgiving. Nina, here's clip number 5, please.
Thanksgiving. Some people want to change the name Thanksgiving. They don't want to use the term Thanksgiving. And that was true also with Christmas, but now everybody's using Christmas again. Remember I said that? But now we're going to have to do a little work on Thanksgiving. People have different ideas why it shouldn't be called Thanksgiving, but everybody in this room I know loves the name Thanksgiving, and we're not changing it. But Americans have so much to be thankful for.
So
Wow.
That was real. That was Wednesday or Tuesday.
That's after every comment, you're like, yeah, that was real.
I always expect them to go like, and now I'm going to release a Muslim for your beating pleasure into the crowd. Release Mahmoud. So what? Have anyone? I got a sense where he's going. I got an idea, but do you know any people who say I don't want to use the term Thanksgiving? If any of you like that, I mean, I don't care. I'm not going to judge you. I'm sincerely asking.
Well, I was engaged in battle just before, it was funny. But first of all, New York City is probably the most liberal city in the country. And we are Thanksgiving. I mean, we have the best parade in the country. First of all, but to treat it seriously, frankly, what he said makes crazy people on the subway sound rational, So it's more rantings, totally made up. No one's ever said it. But then again, it adds to his 13,000 plus lies and misstatements since he's been president.
Well, for him, isn't it just another culture war? It's to get the base going, to think that liberals, we don't want to say Thanksgiving. And I know what he's getting at. The idea, it's really thanks-taking your Native American heritage.
Yes. I've always struggled with the idea of holidays like this, but I do love having, I guess I would say, Friendsgiving. We had, You'd be very proud of my party. We had a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian. It was fantastic. There was no bar.
Do you make them sit according to no bar?
But it was, it's like, it's just, holidays are great. I don't think you need to, we need to do a war on a lot of other things. I don't think there's a war on, if liberals are doing, I don't know who these liberals are. That's the thing, too. Who are these people that are freaking out over Thanksgiving?
Fox News
Jill
had a bunch
Scott
of clips.
people? Who are these people?
Fox News had clips where it was like college students say that the Native Americans were taking advantage, which is absolutely true. We just screwed over the Native Americans. We treated them horrifically. And And some, they don't want to use the term Thanksgiving, but you can still give thanks, and if you want to use that term, but of course acknowledge what we really did to people.
Yeah, but I mean, a tragedy is, most holidays are kind of surrounded by tragedies. You know what I mean? If you think about it, like Easter, we kill Jesus, and so let's go do the bunny, and it doesn't really matter. And like Patrice O'Neill said one time, pretty soon, 9/11, we'll be selling mattresses on 9/11.
That's
like
right.
It will happen.
So Sarah, what about you? Are you a Thanksgiving person? Do you enjoy Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm totally cool with Thanksgiving. I think it's like the one part of the year where you should do your due diligence of acknowledging the crimes the settlers had against Native Americans. I think that's important. But I think the whole Trump statement is really just trying to add more fodder into this concept of Christian victimhood mentality. I think oftentimes you have a lot of these evangelical Christians who are like making up things to make it seem like Christianity is a repressed minority in this country. You see the Starbucks cups every year. It's just ridiculous. But I think it would be really great if you were like, happy remember what we did to the Native Americans Day. I think that would be great.
There is no national holiday for Native Americans.
There's not?
There's not one. No.
Maybe have that holiday.
I used to try to get a petition going, and Obama never wrote me back. But there's no national holiday.
That's
not
interesting.
one. One. There's Columbus Day. There's Martin
Luther
King.
I had my friend Yossi Ross on, who's a lawyer, but he's part of the Blackfeet Nation, on Wednesday to talk about Thanksgiving from a Native American point of view and stuff like that. And that's an interesting thing. I've never thought about that. And we've had on Deb Haaland, who was elected to Congress this year. She's one of the first ever two women who are Native American in Congress. Next time we chat with her, I'm going to say to her, why don't you, how can we not have a national holiday for Native Americans?
One bank holiday for Native Americans. Just, you know what I mean? I don't understand it.
Yeah, but it's really, it's about family and, as you say, giving thanks to things that are important. But, the whole Trump is saying, Sarah, appealing to the so-called religious people. And first of all, a true religious person is compassionate, tolerant, and doesn't hate and demonize Muslims and minorities and immigrants. But aside from, he's the most irreligious president we've ever had. And so everything he does is really, it says is the opposite of who he is.
Well, he went to Afghanistan on a surprise trip, and I wonder if it was a surprise to him. Like, he gets in the plane, and they're like, we're going to your favorite golf course, Mr. President, and here's your Game Boy, sit down. And then next thing, so here's Nina, let's play, and we won't listen to the whole thing, but listen to how Trump sets this up. I'll tell you when we'll get out of it, Nina. He literally says the troops are behind him. He's standing in Afghanistan yesterday, and he goes, this is why we came here. And listen to what he says. And again, you're just waiting for someone to yell out live from New York on Saturday night. But this is real. This is what the President of the United States, and the troops are there. And if you can see their face, they're not like rolling their eyes, but there's no cheering. They're just sitting there at attention, and you get a little bewilderment in their eyes. So here's clip number 12, Nina, please.
We flew 8,331 miles to be here tonight for one simple reason, to tell you in person that this Thanksgiving is a special Thanksgiving. We're doing so well. Our country is the strongest economically it's ever been. We have never done so well. We have the greatest economy anywhere in the world. So it's nice to know that you're fighting for something that is doing well as opposed to something that was not doing well just a number of years ago. Our stock markets reached the highest level ever in the history of the exchanges, all three. If you look, all three.
All right, I think you get the idea. So these guys, they're like 18-year-old in the military. Probably not a lot of investing in the stock market at that point.
A lot of Bitcoin in the military.
A lot of Bitcoin, Apple Pay, perhaps. But for him, first of all, we have to unpack where he goes, now you're fighting for something good as opposed to the other years when the economy wasn't good.
Yeah. The Obama thing didn't matter. That war didn't matter.
So you only give 80% then, but now you give 100%. Well, do you think that people in the military fight harder when the economy is better back at home?
Oh, they're checking on their phone while they're fighting, going,
stock market's
Cisco's up, No, it's
he made it about him. I mean, that's how he opened it.
Yeah. Well, remember when he spoke early in his presidency at the CIA and the wall of memory of all the people who lost their lives, talking about my inauguration, biggest crowd ever. I mean, look, it's nothing new, and it's all this. And frankly, people have been saying he seems even more off than usual. And I mean, and he talked later on in that same speech talking about space. It doesn't make any sense. So it's more of the same craziness.
I think if I was a soldier and I heard that speech, and Trump's a millionaire or whatever, how much money he has, billionaire, whatever, I don't care. Who knows, really? Right. Yeah. But he's literally, addressing them, saying that they're fighting for the rich man's war. Talking about stock exchanges and the economy that does not affect them. They're not getting paid crap. Their family is being screwed over. So for me, it's that's the dumbest thing you could do as a leader, talking about the economy, and you have an opulent amount of wealth wealth, So I think that's just like, I don't know, it's ridiculous. It gets me more angry than I'm like more, laughing at it.
You're better off doing the Bush thing. You just claim that it's done, and we
mission accomplished.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Done. But think about it. I mean, he is there. The next thing he'll be like, so who enjoys the capital gains tax deduction? Everyone like that. Who's invested in a REIT this year? Anyone invested in a real estate? So it is an insane. And he tells the military, he sets it up by going, I came whatever miles, a lot of frequent flyer miles I got. And here's the message. And the message to tell you you're fighting for a good stock market. I mean, this is what he's saying.
And then he changed the policy. Once he said that talks to Taliban were dead, now he's saying, oh, we're going to talk, or if that doesn't work, total victory. And no one knows any of this, and it's a total different plan. They're probably sitting there going, this is the commander-in-chief.
But the sad thing is it's working for him. Like his base loves it. They love every second of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Every second of it. My family's all this Trump stuff. And they love it. They all love it. You cannot, there's nothing he can say that's going to sway them. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. It's such a cult mentality.
Yeah, I guess like fighting for other people's freedom isn't that great when you're fighting for our economy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, you know why? He was, as Rick Perry told us. Nina, let's play Rick Perry.
Genius Rick Perry?
No, here's Rick Perry this week telling us who selected Donald Trump for the job, and you might have an idea where this is going. Clip number 9.
God's used imperfect people all through history. King David wasn't perfect. Saul wasn't perfect. Solomon wasn't perfect. And I actually gave the president a little one-pager on those Old Testament kings about a month ago. And I shared it with him. I said, Mr. President, I know there are people that say, you said you were the chosen one. And I said, you were. I said, if you're a believing Christian, you understand God's plan for the people who rule and judge over us on this planet in our government.
Before we talk about God choosing, you have to talk about for a second the one pager on the Old Testament he gave him. Rick Perry's like, I gave him a one pager on all the kings.
Pitching a show. I'm pitching a new show at Netflix.
Very big type.
Yeah, like the king, and this is the thing. A one pager on the Old Testament. He goes, he's summed up in one page. Where are the pictures? So
but Trump is like bad lieutenant, and he's hiding behind this Christian badge. You know what I mean?
Are you practicing? Are you Christian? Are you practicing?
No.
Were you raised?
I used to be Mormon. Remember that?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. In high school, I met a Mormon girl, and then that screwed up the whole family. Nobody could figure it out. I was Mormon for about 6 years.
Right now, are you up for grabs? Because we got Muslim Jewish.
I think I'm good,
have a
man.
booth outside
I'm all
the
right.
studio.
I'm libertarian, I guess. I don't know.
Libertarian? That's your religion.
Depends on the holiday you switch off.
Sarah, what do you think? If he said God, do you think Allah picked? Do you think
I don't think God picked him at all. I don't know. I can't. Ugh, man. I don't know. I like honestly don't understand. Like, I don't know. I think it just proves that a lot of these evangelical Christian groups are profiting off of him. Like, I've seen videos of them putting their hands on Donald Trump and like praying. Like, how could you? Do you remember when he was in Alabama? I think it was after a tornado when he was signing the Bible autograph. I just don't understand if you truly love God.
Yeah, he's a
that
rock star,
you equate
man.
a creation of him as.
Well, that's why they're
equal to
fake
that.
Christians, the evangelicals, and everything that, no, it's just.
Do you imagine?
And then Rick Perry, by the way, is very
I
tied in
think
with
Kanye's
Ukraine
more
too.
of
He's
a
got more
chosen
word.
one.
Yeah.
Who?
I think Kanye West is more of a chosen one than Donald
Perhaps.
Trump.
Yeah.
But you imagine
It's early stuff, yeah.
Obama, a cabinet official said Obama was chosen by God to be president. The right would go, the evangelicals go crazy. They think, first of all, he's a Muslim, not our God, and the devil did this. The idea of intersecting religion with anything Donald Trump does, it's beyond me. I mean, are we that intelligent? Is that the right word? Or objective that we don't see the connection between anything Trump does and God? I mean, there could be some supernatural deity. It would be, you look down, not up. But even then, there's nothing religious or godlike about. There's nothing Christian about him. I know something about Christianity. My mom's Christian. I went to Catholic school. There's nothing consistent with Christianity. He's about cruelty. Christianity truly at its essence is about compassion.
But this is a broken record. I mean, we've all been saying this over and over and over, and it just doesn't matter. It's like as long as you hate gays, as long as you, support anti-abortion, then that's it. And hate immigrants, that's it. As long as you have the top three, then it doesn't matter.
But their new thing now is, like from Perry said, yes, they concede he's not perfect, far from it, but that this is seeking redemption. This is the thing. So, they're just people finding excuses for a horrible person.
But that's been the MO forever for the evangelicals. It's like Jimmy Swaggart. It's like you fall and you get back up and you're redeemed and born again. It's like that's the whole thing. So they just make him this poster boy for that.
Unreal. So, all right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about Ken Cuccinelli getting chased out of a bar by Martin O'Malley, which is just priceless to have that kind of thing happen, and more right after this on the Dean Obeidallah Show.
Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
You're listening to What Just Happened with everyone's favorite host, Dean Obeidallah.
Yeah, I'll do my 5 minutes set.
And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live Friday, November 29th. I'm here. What just happened? Sarah Harvard's here, Dustin Chafin, Scott Blakeman, talking about the news of the week. So this kind of happened. I want to get you guys' take on, is this okay or is this too far? Or is there a line, like who should get this and who shouldn't? Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve, Ken Cuccinelli, if you don't know, he's a Trump official. He's anti-LGBT bigot, horrible guy, because he used to be lieutenant governor or AG of Virginia, and he ran for governor and he lost. Also said a lot of anti-immigrant stuff. Now he's part of the Trump administration, and he vocally defends Trump's horrible policies. So he goes in a bar called a Dubliner in D.C., and there's Martin O'Malley, former governor of Maryland, who just tirades him, is the way people put it. And then they actually reached out to Martin O'Malley, who said, "We let him know how we feel about him putting refugee immigrant kids in cages. It's certainly not what we were taught by the Jesuits at Gonzaga, because Gonzaga, it's by a school by Gonzaga, and they go there." And he said, "Cuccinelli is the son of immigrant parents who cages children for a fascist president." Close quotes, says Martin O'Malley. So what's your take on the heckling? This is a really like kind of heckling of Trump officials when they walk in bar. First of all, what's your reaction to this story? But Martin O'Malley, the governor, and he did it so much that Cuccinelli left. Like he's like, I'm out here. Sarah, what do you think?
I think that's amazing. I think that's like a heroic thing to do for a politician. Like, screw respectability politics. The fact that he's using his power and position to corner Ken Cuccinelli, and Ken Cuccinelli being, a sissy enough to just run away and not, take ownership. I think that's great. And I would love to see more congressional members and like former politicians do that.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn because part of me feels like that bar is kind of like the hotel and John Wick. You know what I mean? Like it's a neutral ground.
That one was the Dubliner. Right, that's a special one.
Yeah.
Have you seen John Wick? No.
No, I have not.
Oh, you haven't seen John Wick.
Yeah.
What about, do you think, Dustin, at this point, perhaps maybe Scott should offer a class how to deal with hecklers to the Trump administration officials so they can deal with these kind of people? Because you had Kirsten Nielsen before and various ones being heckled.
I would think this is a little different than heckling because, like I'm not in favor of spitting in someone's food and frankly, if someone comes in a restaurant, let them eat. But in this case, they were both graduates of Gonzaga High School, Jesuit High School. He walked in, and it wasn't just O'Malley. I think some other people had chimed in. And I think this would be in the category of they engage in a conversation, probably heated. And Cuccinelli, as you said, but they're all cowards in the Trump administration, should have stood his ground and talked.
Yeah.
But how do you stand your ground? Like, I cage children. Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm the bad man now. How do you? What's the other side to that issue?
Well,
that's the problem.
There's no, but they probably
so
would
it's
say, indefensible.
He would have to go like, I'm just doing what the president tells me. That's some ridiculous following orders line or
and
something.
Just know your crowd. Like if you went to a sports bar, you know what I mean? It'd been a totally different situation. Like that's more his people probably.
Cuccinelli?
Yeah.
Kids in cages, and they do the way. Come on. It's
because it was so far beyond the old days of the Republicans, Democrats sort of similar, and you hang out and get drunk at the Shoreham in D.C. whatever. So I think the focus should be on changing things, changing the world, changing the Senate, but. In that situation, I think to just say, "Hey, Ken, how's it going? Okay, how's the wife and kid?" So I think that case it was justified.
Do you think there should be? I mean, is it because Cuccinelli was on CNN and cable defending it, as opposed to like a random Trump person who just works there and is never on TV defending the policies? Would you say it's cool to heckle that person as well?
Again, I'm in favor of heckling people. I think this was a conversation, so that I'm in favor. I don't, screaming at somebody at a diner or. As much as we do legitimately hate them, and I know it is cathartic and it feels good, but I'd rather think we should take that energy and try to change the government.
I have I run a comedy club downtown, and I've made a green room policy where nobody can talk politics. I've had some horrible things happen in the green room. I've had horrible things happen where people just kind of start talking about this stuff and everybody disagreeing, and the energy is just, it's just not the right place for it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But also, like, the thing is that a lot of these conservatives don't address the fact that there's so many of their supporters and followers who are heckling women going to abortion clinics, right? Yeah. There's so many people heckling, Muslim people just worshiping in their own mosque, and there's no conversations about that. And they're not on TV, pretty much promoting this idea of like oppressing other people's rights. They're there just living their own lives and making their own choices. So if they want to really address that situation of heckling, they need to look their own followers and see how they could change that as well.
Dustin, by the way, at your club, do you have a policy? I'm not kidding around, seriously. If someone heckles from the audience, does management go over and say stop heckling, or is it leave it up to the comedian to deal with it?
We usually have some security, yeah. Somebody will go
over. I just wonder.
But usually the security guy will let the comics kind of deal with it, because most of the time we can figure it out in a funny way, unless the person's belligerent or something, and we just pull them out.
Interesting. What's the worst heckle you ever dealt with here?
The first heckle?
No, the worst heckle. What was like? Can you remember anything where someone heckled you and it was
probably
memorably bad?
My father trolling me on Facebook about Trump. That was the worst. I had to be like, "Stop with the politics." I literally had to.
Sarah, have you been heckled?
A lot, actually. Yeah,
seriously?
A lot of times.
Why?
One time, it was at a show downtown, just like kind of like a dingy bar, and I was just talking about being a woman, and like I have a joke about how I'm a little bit more plus size, curvy, but like to say I'm sturdy, and this girl was like, "Show me your tits."
What?
Out of nowhere.
Wow.
And then I started like talking back to her, and it got really pretty much hostile.
What was your response, though?
Well, I was like, "Show me yours."
Perfect.
Yeah. So, but anyways, a lot of people the audience members were heckling her in return, and a fight broke out. They had to call the cops.
Wow.
It was
my God.
Yeah, it was bad.
But at least it was a girl. I feel like we've come a long way.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I don't know if she's a lesbian
Scott,
or not.
have you ever been heckled by...
Well, a good joke is, yes, I had the same heckle. But no, there's one weird... I remember, I do a lot of lefty shows. And this was one years ago, and it was some probably whatever it was, and it was a very left group, and someone actually literally just started walking to the stage, which is frightening.
What?
And instead of them going, "Go back," and they said, I was trying to look at it, they're going, "Well, hear him out, hear what he has to say." So it was like, I'd rather do it later after the show. So it was a little unsettling.
My favorite heckle, I've gotten every now and then minor things. My favorite heckle that I saw was at Dangerfields, and I was emceeing, and it was packed. It was like a weekend night, and Steve Marshall's on stage. Might as well say his name. So Steve's on stage, and Kevin Brennan had just been on and killed. So Kevin destroyed, and Steve's on stage and not doing really well. I mean, not bombing, but just not doing that well.
Yeah.
And a woman begins heckling by going, "Your setups are too long."
Oh my God.
It was the most constructive heckle. She goes, "Your setups are too long." She goes, "You're bringing the show down. Shorter setups." I'm not kidding.
That's
And then she looked at me
amazing.
because I'm the MC. I'm like, "I don't. You're right. I mean, like, what are you, a comedy teacher?" Like that's something
And then
Scott
you
would
took
have.
Scott's class.
But that was my favorite heckle. And then I tried to tell Kevin Brennan, I'm laughing so hard I can't even get the words out to explain to Kevin what it, because what's going on? I go, they're heckling him constructively. Let it go. No one, don't let the management get involved. He should hear this. So it's crazy times. All right, let's talk a little bit about 2020 before we talk about some crazy stuff. Here was Colbert last night talking about Joe Biden. This is real. It's really happened. Here's clip number 1, Nina.
Joe Biden. Biden is still leading by double digits nationally. But recently, he's been slipping a bit in Iowa, so he's been trying to rally supporters in the Hawkeye state. We recently learned that last month, Biden said to his supporters, "I'm asking you to take a look. I'm asking for your help. Commit to caucusing for me on February the 4th. One problem. The caucuses are February the 3rd. Doesn't matter. Wow. Doesn't matter. That's fine. What matters is the general election. And Joe Biden wants you to go out and vote on November 35th. You walk into that voting booth, you ignore all the buttons with the floor numbers, just shout Joe Biden at the ceiling until the nice fireman comes and rescues you.
Yeah,
So,
we really got to vote young this time around.
Is that what you're feeling? I was going to ask you.
Anybody
so what-
under 60, yeah.
That's your rule, 60.
I can't stand Bernie. I can't stand any of these
What?
people. It's just too old. That's the kind of stuff.
But
It's
Liz
like, I'm
Warren's
sorry.
70. What about Liz Warren? So who do you like? Who's under 60? You got Buttigieg?
He's all right. He's not bad.
You can tell us who you like, or is it just...
I am still undecided.
But you've limited to like
I'm
3
not,
people
I'm not gonna
under
lie.
60.
I had the Beto shirt. Like I was. He broke
Oh,
my
is it
heart. He
native
broke
son,
my
right?
heart. He broke my heart, and then now I'm just kind of undecided. I'm definitely, somebody.
Being somebody who I'm not going to say how old, but and I totally respect what you said. That, but everything else is bad, but ageism is just as bad as any of these other
It is.
things.
I'm
And-
okay- I'm
and
okay with
especially
it.
to
I'm
me,
okay
Bernie
with it.
is younger, and the Biden thing. I just don't think that. I think he's
Bernie
a great public
panders.
servant, and I think that first of all, the joke that Colbert did has been done about Trump, and other people have made that mistake and everything. But the age is the issue, and also same thing with Buttigieg. I don't think being too young is an issue. I think he's ready.
Yeah,
and
no.
but
What about too white? Is there a limit to that? Or?
It should be.
depends on the son. But no, I don't think. Well, he would. I think he's been. I know you had a guest on recently talking about that, but I think he's been unfairly judged, Buttigieg. I don't think you could take a comment out of context from 2011, but he is certainly somebody who is very conscious, very sensitive to racial concerns, and as a mayor, he's dealing with it. And people always say things that aren't quite right. But the ageism thing, I think Bernie's so vibrant. It was funny how Bernie, they always make this seem like he's the crazy one. And, no, I think he's great,
Yeah.
and he's from Brooklyn like me.
Yeah,
so,
no, I get it.
Yeah.
We just like Beto. Like we all like
Yeah.
we're narcissists when it comes to voting.
Absolutely.
Sarah?
As the youngest person here, I'm more
As
a
the
fan.
youngest person, shut off
Yeah.
your
You
microphone.
look the oldest.
You don't need this. You're ageist. Unbelievable.
Well, I mean, look, I think Bernie Sanders actually does resonate more with the youngest. I don't look in terms of Joe Biden. He's clearly incompetent to run as president. I really don't think just looking at his speech, it's like really Trump, a more liberal version in terms of his etiquette and his way of speaking to the masses. But I think Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren consistently champion and fight for causes for the younger generation.
I think I have to say, let me just push back Sarah so I can keep my
Unless you're
show.
Native American.
No. I think Biden is competent. I think he's not like Trump, but I think there are times during debate where I hold my breath when he's speaking and I go, oh, that's not good. Like what you just said. Like last debate when he was talking about domestic violence and he goes, literally said we got to keep punching at that and punch at it until it's gone. I'm like, why would you use the word punch while talking about domestic violence? I mean, the worst choice of words ever. So I think there's...
I mean, it's like Hillary. Not everybody's good on a mic. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing. Joe Biden was never a great candidate. He was not a great candidate when he ran in 2008. He got less than 1% of the vote in Iowa and dropped out. And then Obama. So it's not like maybe he slowed down a little bit. It's hard to say. But he was never great. That's the thing. It's either like, do you feel like I'm not sure all of your politics. I get a sense, though. But if you were advocating for the Democrats, would you say pick the person who can best beat Trump, or pick the person based on polls only, or pick the person who can inspire Democrats to go out and work for a candidate and win?
I mean, she was, talking about Bernie. I feel Bernie panders to the youth. It's always some soundbite about legalizing weed, student debt. Like I feel it's easy. You know what I mean?
What would you like him to say?
I don't know. It's like
Suck it up, kids. When I was your age, I had to walk back and forth
1%,
between
1%.
Moscow and Leningrad. So
I don't know. I just want somebody. I loved Obama, and I really miss him. I'm heartbroken that there's no one like that for me right now, because he was such a great president for me personally.
All right, here's from SNL on Saturday when they did.
That was
It was a
hilarious.
great debate sketch. And I try to pick a part that you don't have to actually see it, but obviously if you can picture Larry David as Bernie
So
and
funny.
Fred Armisen as Bloomberg
He's great.
and others here. So let's play a little. Nina, let's play clip number 11, please.
We'll now move on to Mayor Buttigieg.
America, I know I can do this because my supporters are a diverse coalition from young to old, gay to straight, white to eggshell.
Tulsi Gabbard, time for your closing statement.
I have no interest in those Dalmatian puppies.
Senator Sanders.
As many of you know, a lot of my opponents like to throw the word socialist around for me. But let me ask you, is it fair that only the top 2% often get a free biscotti with their coffee? We would all love a free biscotti. You dip it, you dunk it, it's delicious. So if that's socialism, sign me up. Tell me this. Is it fair that when the top 2% want to turn off the lights in their bedroom, all they have to do is clap? They got the clapper. Should we all have clappers? Either everybody has a clapper or nobody has a clapper. And that's the America I want to live in.
And there wasn't a Bloomberg in there. It's funny. I mean, Larry David, you have a joke about, what's your joke about?
Well, I was
anyone could do?
saying that he does a great bit, but I think any Jewish guy from New York over 40 could do a Bernie Sanders impression. Like my dad was like, Dad, you want to take the bridge or the tunnel? The tunnel. What am I, a billionaire? Would have spent $14 to go into the city. So, but he does a great one. It sounds like he wrote that part too.
It almost seems like it. It's so. Who's your favorite billionaire? We got Bloomberg, Mike Bloomberg versus Tom Steyer. Who do you got? Is there one that you like better? Or do you like you don't? You have an ages thing. You got a wealthiest thing. That's the right word. I'm not sure.
I didn't mind Bloomberg. I mean, I don't know. He kind of kept me from smoking, and I started drinking less soda. So, I don't know. I don't know about him running for president. I don't know about him running for president, but I didn't mind him as a mayor. I thought he was decent.
I think Bloomberg's in the same category as Biden in the sense that like people go, he's in the race. People going, we didn't really need him. It's okay. I mean,
he's in there.
He's a decent guy, but
he's in there to mess it up. I think just to kind of like cause chaos.
I think he wants
kind of
to
like Ross
win.
Perot, where it just like it mixes everything up.
Ross was funny though. So, what do you think of Bloomberg? Were you here in New York?
I wasn't here during New York, but I read a lot of the news.
You're lucky, so you weren't surveilled by him.
Yeah,
because
that's the
brown
main reason
people, that's
why
what he
I'm pretty.
did.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
He was terrible to Muslims.
Horrible with the New York Police Department. So I'm not a big fan of any presidential candidate who's willing to use expansive powers to spy on innocent civilians. That's my thing.
And also stop and frisk. He was good if you were white and had money. Bloomberg, really. If you were black or brown, they did stop and frisk. If you were Muslim, they did ridiculous surveillance, which was really unconstitutional. But see, if I can only have to pick one billionaire, it's Tom Steyer. Tom comes on the show a lot. He's my friend. It's not like we're friends, like we hang out on his private whatever yacht or something like that. But we're friendly, and he's been on a lot. Bloomberg never been on, and so I only can have one billionaire BFF. So what about impeachment? Like, how much did you guys follow any of the testimony that was going on?
Yeah, I watched. It was so very plain and very convincing that clearly.
Did you watch a lot of it?
I watched a lot of it. Yeah, and it's the sad thing is that it hasn't resonated with a lot of people. When Watergate, people watching, this is, which was far less than what they did. All these, I just love these foreign service people, these career diplomats. And the way they smear, like Vinaman, who's a Jewish guy from Brighton Beach, Brooklyn, like I am, and just sickening. These are people who are represent the epitome of what America should be. And then you have these thugs and criminals like Giuliani and Trump and others. And I think the case was made. It's abuse of power and it's impeachable and it's very clear.
Well, let me ask you a quick thing here, because as Bloomberg, if he were to ascend, anti-Semitism is used by the right. And there were some attacks with Vinaman. We saw that in a recent attack on the people who were involved. Bloomberg being Jewish. You may have seen the clip that went viral. Was a Trump supporter on TV somewhere on some crappy network, but it was still a network that Trump likes. Are you concerned if Bloomberg somehow got the nomination that we'd see a level of anti-Semitism and that rivals?
Well, I used to joke too when I
1930s?
perform for Jewish audiences and say, "Who'd like to see a Jewish president?" No, we don't need that. But no, even though I don't agree with his politics now, I would hope that Joe Lieberman back in 2000 would have been a Jewish vice president. He certainly changed. I know. I think, as you wrote in your excellent article, I mean, both Jews and Muslims wear, the crosshairs, unfortunately, around the world, and I don't think it matters who the president would be, but we just need a president unlike Trump who actually acknowledges that there's white supremacy, acknowledges that anti-Semitism and anti, Muslim and all that is a real thing, and they don't acknowledge it at all.
Sarah, did you get to watch the impeachment? I know you did 3,000 comedy spots last week.
Yeah, no.
Did you? Between all your
shows how little I'm working.
Yeah. Well, it's not paid, so most of it's not paid.
Who books? No. Did you get to watch? Were you interested? I know you're also a writer, freelance writer.
So to be honest with you, a little bit, but I'm really checked out because I was covering a lot during the Mueller, the Trump-Russia Mueller probe, and I think Americans are just exhausted right now, going through all these hearings and these testimonies and I've been reading articles about how there's another route of, kind of putting Trump to hold accountability, and that's to censoring the president. And I want to explore that more often and see what we could do in actually getting him removed from office through that route as well.
Yeah, it was hard to get into when there's not a soiled dress involved. It's it's hard to just kind of.
You need something
a little more exciting. Yeah.
And the Republicans had, except for like one person, Will Hurd, just white guys essentially, and I guess Elisa Stefanik from upstate New York.
I liked her a lot.
Did you like her?
I did, yeah. I like a nerdy girl. That's my thing. Yeah, I love it. Smart girls.
What about Devin Nunes? What do you think of Devin Nunes?
All right.
This is here. Let's do this, Nina. Here's clip number 10. This is a funny joke from Colbert earlier in the week on Devin Nunes. Go ahead, my friend.
On Friday? It was just Friday. On Friday, we learned that Parnas has some dirt on ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee and man seen here with his only friend, Chair, Devin Nunes. According to his lawyer, Parnas is ready to testify to Congress that in late 2018, Nunes flew to Vienna to meet with disgraced former Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin to get dirt on Biden. So, according to Parnas, the top Republican investigating whether Trump tried to get dirt on Biden tried to get dirt on Biden. It reminds me of the children's classic, Nancy Drew in the case of the man murdered by Nancy Drew. Now.
All right, some funny stuff there. So we're going to take a break. Then we come back and play our favorite game. Guess who said it, Sarah? I read you an actual quote, and the more you get wrong, the better I feel about myself. It's kind of an interesting game, but it's collectively you guys all play, and we'll do it. We'll be right back with more of the Dean Obadala Show right after this.
Dean Obadala Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
Your entire week's exhausting news broken down in one hilarious hour. What Just Happened is now live with Dean Obeidallah.
And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. Black Friday, but we're still working. Friday, November 29th. Very happy to have three great people here. Sarah Harvard, Dustin Chafin, and my friend Scott Blakeman. By the way, Sarah, I know you had a joke about your name in the comedy show Harvard. Yeah. Tell people, because you're related. You're the great granddaughter of John Harvard, of course.
Yeah, pretty much. My last name. My family legally changed their last name after 9/11. I grew up Muslim. Our home was vandalized. My parents got death threats because we were Muslim. So my parents were like, we'll pick an Asian last name. Harvard. Yeah. Our backup name was MIT. And our safety.
So what was your other? Do you want to tell us your other name, or do you like to keep it?
Yeah, I don't mind saying it. Yeah, it's El Hamdawi. It's a very Moroccan name. So I get why my family changed it, because that won't fly at all. Anywhere, that won't fly.
Is Sarah your real first name?
Yeah, Sarah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm questioning you for DHS.
Yeah, I feel like.
And is Sarah your real first name? Yeah. El Hawawi?
El Hamdawi.
What are you planning to do while you're on the show?
My name is legally Dean, but my father wanted to name me Salahuddin.
Oh, I want to name my son Salahuddin. It's really weird.
He won't be able to fly in America.
Yeah, he won't. But maybe
name.
My dog will be named that. I don't know. We'll see.
My mom's born here. She's Italian. And she wanted Dino, so the compromise. Well, she did it on purpose. That was her way to get him off Salahuddin. She goes, no, Dino. I'm not kidding. This is really
your
what
life
happened.
would have been totally different.
Well, if my name was Salahuddin Obeidallah?
No, with him it's just either one.
Or Dino.
Dino
Obeidallah.
This
well,
guy.
growing up in Jersey, people would think my name was, I'm not kidding, Dino Bedalia. So
that's
hey,
not bad.
Dino Bedalia's here. No, it's Dean Obeidallah, which wasn't bad, but Dino.
That would crush in comedy, actually.
Dino Bedalia?
Yeah.
Dino Bedalia, everybody.
Easy to say, yeah.
I'll be working with, who were the Italian comic? Well, there's Rob Ignati and Sebastian Maniscalco. Maniscalco, Bedalia, and Magnati together. All right, let's play the game. You guys ready? Matt, do we got the music to play the game within the game?
Now, it's time for America's newest game show sensation. Guess who's Said It?
And welcome back to the show within the show. It is Guess Who Said It. We do it every week here. So here are the rules. It's very simple. I give you a real quote and 4 options. Collectively, I hope you get them all right. So
very
here we
stressful.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, no stress. Here we go. There's no real prizes. There's nothing. I wish we had prizes. We were going to do that. Okay.
Get booked on Dustin's show, probably.
That's the
No.
I'll get the check spot.
You have to be 10 years in. All right.
Regarding the 2020 Democratic candidates, who said, if you take a snapshot today, I don't think that group is capable of beating Donald Trump, despite what the polls say. Was that Michael Bloomberg, the founder of BET, Robert Johnson, J.P. Morgan's Jamie Dimon, or Deval Patrick? No, the complex answers.
Yeah.
Bloomberg, BET founder, the head of J.P. Morgan, or...
I'll say Jamie Dimon.
I'm going to go BET guy.
I'm going to go Bloomberg.
You got it right. The other two... Okay, who said this crappy comment about Elizabeth Warren? I'm not kidding. This was on national TV yesterday. Well, it's Thanksgiving, so it's fitting that we got a little Pocahontas. Talking about they had Elizabeth Warren's picture up. This is on Fox. This is on Fox News. I'm giving it away. It was Fox News. Was it Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Pete Hegseth, Brian Kilmeade, or Don Jr.?
I want to say Kilmeade.
I'd say Junior.
Hannity.
None of you got it right. I feel better. Pete Hegseth, whatever. The jackass.
Easy.
Can you believe that? I mean,
They all could have said it.
You cannot do any. You can't mock others in a way like this about if you mock black people or Jews or.
Well, she's not Native American. That's what all the natives hate about her. That she used that.
Well, some Native Americans like. I've talked to some.
Really? Well, there's only 15 left.
I talked to Chief Sitting Bull. I've talked to people who like her, and I think she's like one half.
Well, she's coming back now, but
she was. Here's the deal.
She's not on a roll card.
Here's the deal about.
She's not
she
from
was
a nation.
I believe her that she was told from her family. Like until I did 23andMe, I didn't know for sure I was half Italian and half Arab.
Yeah.
Did you ever do the 23andMe? Any of you?
I'm too scared.
Yeah, well, I have a number and everything, so I have a nation. So
you do?
Yeah.
Oh, we talked about this.
So yeah. I don't need a spit in a tube. You know what I mean?
Well, I did that. I came back 30% guacamole. Folks, I'll be here all week. And
we were the original ones that were on a fly list.
So none of you 23andMe? I did it, and I came back what my background was, but actually slightly more. I guess it skews to your dad's genetics. So it was like 60% Middle Eastern. It went from all the way from Middle Africa, not even Egypt, Middle Africa, all the way to Saudi. The Italian side, all Southern Italian.
Oh, makes
so the
sense.
Arabs traveled. The Italians like, we found it, put the chairs down, put the lights on the house.
Yeah.
We're done. This was it.
Aren't you afraid like they have your DNA? That's what I don't like.
Well, they were a
I want
sponsor
the
on the
government.
show, so sort of I had it. Like, it's all
I don't want anybody to have my
They're doing
DNA.
it free.
That's just,
what are they
it
going
freaks
to do
me
with
out.
it? People,
You
my
never
girlfriend
know.
said that. What are
The
they going to
future,
do with
20
it?
years, you don't know. Yeah,
They're going
it's
to
just
make a new dean.
They might.
Replace me.
They might.
Sorry, Dean,
He's
we're letting you go.
Republican. He's like, you know.
Imagine that. Like, sorry, Dean, we're letting you go. Why? We're replacing you with Dean. And he comes
Dino
in.
Adaya.
And he speaks slower. He articulates his words more clearly.
Dino
All
Adaya.
right, here goes another one. Donald Trump is a salesman, a talker, a boaster, a compulsive self-promoter. At times, he's a full-blown BS artist. Was that George Conway, Chris Wallace, Bill Weld, or Tucker Carlson?
Tucker Carlson.
Wow, that was quick. He buzzed in before we even read the whole question.
I read that. I saw that.
You read through the paper. All right, here's one. There's no question, having spoken to many of the Republicans privately, they're absolutely disgusted and exhausted by the president's behavior. They resent being put in this position all the time. Was that Bill Weld, who's a Republican governor, Joe Walsh, former Republican Congressman Charlie Dent, or Mike Bloomberg?
I want to say Weld.
Joe Walsh.
Charlie Dent.
Charlie Dent! Boom. In fact, they showed it in 2 minutes ago. Last one. Who said this to Bill O'Reilly? By the way, I keep offering you to go back on Fox so that you can take the #1 slot. So who said, by the way, I keep offering you to go back on Fox so you can take that #1 slot? Was that Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Lou Dobbs, or Tucker Carlson?
Can you read it again?
It was to Bill O'Reilly. By the way, I keep offering you go back on Fox so that you can take the #1 slot. I don't think this is right. I think the right answer is not on the list.
Wasn't it Donald? Didn't Trump say that?
Trump said that.
Oh, Trump. Okay.
He didn't. Oh, all right. So
tell
who
me.
said it? Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Lou Dobbs, Tucker Carlson.
It
So
has to be Lou
Hannity.
Dobbs.
Hannity.
Kennedy, I think.
You got Hannity. No, you got it right. Trump said something similar, but not
okay.
Who am I to question the judges? Sorry, Matt. Matt knows all this stuff. Speaking of Fox News, we have one more break. All right, let's take our last
Can we
break.
just say I won that round?
You did.
Thank
I
you.
think,
All right.
Matt, who won? You're the actual judge, Matt.
The Kraken has been unleashed.
That's Sebastian Gorka, who actually worked in the Trump administration. That's a real quote.
You call me a
Sebastian
cracker? I ain't no cracker.
No, the Kraken. The Kraken.
Cracker.
All right, we'll be right back with more of the Cracker Hour with Dustin Chafin right after this. The Kraken.
The Dean Ovidala Show.
My slogan for Trump in 2020, Trump for Prison 2020.
Sirius XM Progress. entire week's exhausted news broken down into one hilarious hour. What Just Happened is now live with Dean Obeidallah.
And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live right here, Friday, November 29th. Got our friends Scott Blakeman, Sarah Harvard, Dustin Chafin. We're going to talk. All right, we'll talk about this weird thing, but because I love what Michael Blake did on Fox News this week. But to remind people before I play, because Michael Blake is referring to Tucker Carlson doing something else. Here is clip number 8. Here's Tucker Carlson. This is literally as they're burying people in El Paso who are killed by a white supremacist. Literally, not exaggerating. Literally was in that news cycle. Here's Tucker Carlson mocking the idea of white supremacy. Clip number 8.
If you were to assemble a list, a hierarchy of concerns, of problems this country faces, where would white supremacy be on the list? Right up there with Russia, probably. It's actually not a real problem in America. The combined membership of every white supremacist organization in this country, would they be able to fit inside a college football stadium? I mean, seriously. This is a country where the average person is getting poorer, where the suicide rate is spiking. White supremacy, that's the problem. This is a hoax. Just like the Russia hoax, it's a conspiracy theory used to divide the country and keep a hold on power.
Yeah, he doesn't perform at a lot of firehouses. They're
to call white supremacy,
they're everywhere.
They're everywhere?
Yeah.
So Michael,
I'm from Texas, they're everywhere, man.
Absolutely are, and they're emboldened now. So Michael Blake, who's African American, is on vice chair of the DNC, was on Fox News 2 days ago. And they showed a clip of Tucker Carlson saying Michelle Obama is going to run for president. And then Michael Blake just takes the interview where he wants to go, which I love. Here's clip number 6.
Tucker Carlson with a bold prediction saying Michelle Obama just may be the Democratic ticket next year, despite the former First Lady saying she's not interested. Michael Blake, vice chair of the DNC and a New York State Assemblyman. How you doing, Mike? Nice to see you, sir. What do you think of the prediction on Michelle Obama? Would you like to see that?
Well, she's not running, but the core question is why the hell does Tucker Carlson still have a job here in the first place? The reality is this is someone who said white supremacy is a hoax, and why does Fox allow him to still be here in the first place?
All right. Well, I mean, his opinion there is that Michelle Obama may get in this race. Do you think that will happen, or
it's not going to happen? Not going to happen. But I think the core question is he shouldn't be on here at all.
I get it. We didn't bring you on to talk about Tucker Carlson. I brought you on to talk about the Democratic field. But are you happy right now with what you see in these candidates?
Absolutely, because I see each of them are defeating Donald Trump.
If any of you change the subject like that when I ask you a question, you'll never be booked here again, just so it's clear. But I love Michael. Michael has only been on once. I don't know him well or anything. I like that he did that because he knows he might not get booked again, but he's vice chair of the DNC, so they sort of want the vice chair of the DNC to go on there. Why is that question not asked more? The idea, the guy who has defended white nationalism many times on Fox News. I've played clips. And now you can openly call white supremacy a hoax while they're burying people killed by a self-avowed white supremacist. And you go on the show the next day, and it's no big deal. I mean, this is where we are now, and maybe things are maybe things aren't different. Maybe Dustin, you've seen it differently, but it seems to me I knew they were out there. But to have a guy on national TV with a big show defending white supremacy, being an apologist for it, is beyond things I've ever seen.
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
Well, first of all, I think Fox News is a great place to protest. It's kind of one of those things where you just know you can just drop something. Whatever you believe in, it'll go viral, and you don't need to go back. Right. You only need to do it once. You know what I mean? I think it's something you shouldn't necessarily gloss over. I mean, it may not be at the national level. Maybe their heads aren't shaved with their boots and but there's still, it's still a big problem in America.
Well, he also said they would barely fill a college stadium. Yeah. So that's 50,000. If there were
50,000,
50,000, that's horrific.
a lot.
But you're from Texas. There's more than 50,000 white supremacists in this country. I mean,
it could just.
And you travel the country. I mean, white supremacy
everywhere.
are not just guys burning crosses on lawns anymore. It's much more nuanced.
Politicians, they're CEOs.
Well, he's on the level of Alex Jones. It's no different, who called Sandy Hook a hoax. I mean, these are just sick people, whether he believes or not. I think if he's doing this in a manipulative way to keep his relevance, then it's even sicker.
Yeah.
But
he invented click and bait.
Yeah.
Sarah, now your turn to defend Tucker.
Yeah. Actually, funny enough, I used to intern for the Daily Caller. So
his publication.
Yes, and I'll tell you that there's no accountability in that publication. There's no accountability from Tucker Carlson. I don't expect accountability from Fox News either. So I'm not.
Okay. All right.
I do miss Red Eye.
Quick thing. What's your website or your Twitter handle?
SarahHarvard.com and at AmyHarvard _ on Twitter. And Sarah Amy Harvard on Instagram.
You can't get whiter than that.
Okay.
You've done it.
At Scott Blakeman on Twitter, ScottBlakeman.com, and look, Stand Up for Peace with Dean Obeidallah and I, and StandUpForPeace.com.
Yeah, DustinChaven.com. I get all my tour dates and listen to my podcast. I'll leave you with this.
Thank you guys very much. And I'll be off next week, but tune in. There'll be a all live show. Joe Sudbay will be here. I'll be on Twitter at Dean Obidala because I'm the needy Muslim. And you can email me, dean@deanofradio.com. Thanks for tuning in on this Black Friday. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you, Matt and Nina.
Thank you.
Talk to you all in a week. Have a great night, everyone.
Dino.
Dino Obidala.